I can't do it.
I am joined by Andrea Atherton from Fort Collins, Colorado. Is that right?
Yeah, Northern Colorado.
So I think I talked to you earlier about this when we were doing like an interview. I used to live in Colorado for 9 years, and I called Colorado Springs my home. So I've been to Fort Collins, I think a couple of times. I got the big college there, and Voodoo Ranger has their brewery there. And
we have several breweries. We are per capita, we're pretty brewery full. How's that?
You want a beer, Fort Collins is in no shortage.
Yes.
So how are you doing? How's the weather over there in Colorado?
It just got cold. It was an absolutely beautiful second summer, which means it was in the 80s up until like 2 days ago. And remember how the temperatures dropped. It's cold. We're expecting snow this weekend. We always get snow around Halloween.
Oh, wow. I hope we don't have anything like that. Right now, the weather's beautiful here, and I am hosting a Halloween party tonight. So in between, like getting ready for this, I've been also doing some work, and then I've been getting my house ready for my party and trying to do all the things. Oh yeah, I love it. I love multitasking.
I love Halloween.
Yeah, you like my shirt? It's Jason. Yeah,
I love it. Look at the colors in there. That's awesome.
Yeah, I just had it made yesterday, and the back of it has got Freddy on it. It's pretty cool.
There we go.
I like it. Yeah. So Andrea, tell us about yourself. Tell my listeners about what makes you, because you're I'm the CEO of love. I'm a love expert, and I've been a psychotherapist for almost 27 years. So that's what got me into finding the blueprint to finding the love that we desire, especially in the challenging times we have these days. So, yes. So I'm assuming that you created like your persona, like you learned from experience. You've had some relationships that didn't work out. I think we all have.
Oh, really? No, I haven't at all.
So you just kind of forged what you do now out of all of that, right?
Yeah. And to working with people who have trauma in their childhood, who didn't experience what love was. And we carry that around in our neuropsychology and in our subconscious mind. So it's hard to accept love when we didn't have love as children. So I address a lot of those obstacles as well in my work.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, why is dating so hard? Let's see if you can answer that question.
Let's see. Why is dating so hard? Well, the number one thing that comes to mind is anybody that you meet that's online dating says they hate it and that it's hard. So guess what? Just like when I was doing smoking cessation, if you say it's hard, it's going to be hard.
But it is.
Yeah, I know. But if we reinforce that, of course it's going to be. That's how our brain works. Okay, it's hard. We'll make it hard.
How do we make it easy?
If we go in and sit down and say, this is hard. Oh, I don't want to go. What kind of energy are you giving off to your date?
You know what? That's a good point, because it's not that it's hard. It's aggravating. It's I don't have the patience for it anymore. Like when Tinder first came out, like in 2012, 2013, somewhere along there, it was a lot more fun. Now it's like a job. It's like working, and then it's a humbling experience at times. And then sometimes you'll get a match and then you're just like, hey, how are you? Oh boy, here we go. Riveting conversation starting here. And then you just like disappear from that. And it's not hard. It's just, I don't have the patience for it.
There we go. You just summed up a lot of things. Text is not real conversation. So a lot of my clients, I suggest getting off text, getting on a screen or getting on the phone, at least, even if you can't meet out the gate. But text is not real conversation, and it is boring because you can only talk about so much without offending somebody because they don't understand what you're saying.
I mean,
You know, if you're
that's
trying to
true,
be
yeah.
funny, you're going to offend somebody. So then it's boring.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the other thing, we have so many choices online now.
Mhm.
And when we have too many choices, we won't pick any.
I guess maybe that's from a woman's perspective.
No, it's from all of ours, but that
Yeah.
is and there's only 10% of the people online who get attention. But luckily there's
Mhm.
coaches like me, and I help people. And that's actually, I'm going to be doing a free 90-minute class around Thanksgiving about how to up your chances of meeting people online by developing your profile.
So what's the key to a good profile?
This is why I need 90 minutes. Probably can't go
Summarize.
into it, but I'm like, look like you put a little effort into it.
Mhm.
I mean, I'll do the simple ones. Put a little effort into it. Maybe get pictures that you're not crossing out people's faces. Or, you know, have your friends take them. I know guys are like, I don't want to ask my friends, but I'm sorry, guys aren't good at selfies.
I've been told I'm pretty good.
Sorry, men. Not all women are either. But so people just throw up there what they have instead of shining the light on their best angle or their best selves. And did you know something else? We as humans usually don't pick out the best pictures of ourselves. We think they're the best, but they're not.
So maybe have a friend review your profile. Bam. You know, I did that. Yeah.
Congratulations. You're a very small percentage.
But I also read my profile, my last podcast, to another person, and she told me, wow, that's a resume. That's not telling anything about you. So I went back and I changed that. And still, you know, it's like fishing. You throw the bait out there and you see what happens, see what kind of bite.
Yeah, but you have to have a quality lure.
Quality lure. I got yeah. Well, you know, I was never a good fisherman, so maybe that's
that's another joke. Yeah. Don't hold a dead fish or dead animal if you're a guy. And I heard women are doing it now too.
So. Yeah, women are doing it too. I guess country guys like that. They're like, oh,
I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, whatever floats their boats. I don't have any dead animal pictures in my profile.
Congratulations.
Yeah, you know, it's just hard to meet somebody out and about platonically, you know, like the old days. It seems like all we have now is this online dating to fall back on because it's so convenient. You know, you can lay down and get on your phone and just swipe. And, you know, it kind of takes the joy out of going out and just trying to meet somebody, you know.
We can still do that. I think we're out of lockdown, right?
Are y'all in a lockdown?
I think so. Oh, I think we can go meet people, but people have lost their social skills.
You're right. And
any calluses we have. Yeah,
that's a fact. No matter where you live, unless you live in a jungle somewhere in South America or out in the desert in Africa, you have one of these phones and it has taken over your life.
It's made us soft, and we're hiding behind the phone because we can do anything online and, you know, and we can just disappear.
That is true. There was a great, you know, it's not just for dating, but you can just say or do whatever you want online and not have any repercussions.
That's why, and that's why we're so afraid in real life to be done to us or said to us or given feedback that will hurt our feelings.
Oh, so soft. Everybody's so sensitive these days.
We are.
Yeah. I thought I was the only one that felt like that. Gosh.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So do you for most of the people you coach, what is the biggest setback with these people? And are all your clients women? Do you have any men clients?
I have mostly men clients.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
So what do they come to you for? What's their biggest problem?
Okay. The biggest thing when I'm on the clarity call, I want a second date. I know I'm not aiming hard. At least I want a second date. So I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
I want a first date.
I want a first date. Yeah.
Yes. I hear but I think a lot of people are many people, not everybody, but many people are satisfied with just texting or just swiping because it gives you a little dopamine and it kind of satiates you, but and that's the part that's tiring for a lot of people.
Yeah. I just, when you match and you have all these matches and like Tinder, you have to make the first move as a guy. Bumble, the women make the first move, but it's like, how do you respond to several different conversations differently without making yourself sound like a repeating record? And then you have to talk about the same things over and over and over. And it just like gets forged in your head. And you're like, oh my God, I'm training myself to hate online dating.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, sure.
For you and the listeners, stop talking about yourself. Look at their profile and ask about them. That is one of the most attractive qualities, a good listener. And like if interested in not just her pictures. There.
If they have something on their bio I can look at, or read, I'll do it. Right. But another thing is online dating so full of spam nowadays. It's crazy the amount of like OnlyFans soliciting that goes on there. I don't know. There's just so much stuff you have to weed through now. I don't know. I was married when I lived in Colorado, so I never played the single card out there.
Remember what we talked about on our pre-podcast interview? That Colorado is usually between 1 and the 3rd worst place to Denver. They're measuring Denver places to date in the country.
Really? Oh, yeah. Well, I did have a list. The first place. Let me see if I still have it.
Okay.
On the internet here, because it was a topic of my last podcast, actually.
Okay.
And I do not, but I can remember the top 5. It was California, New York, Texas, Pennsylvania, believe it or not, and Illinois were the top 5.
Oh, we're not even on the 5 anymore. I think when I looked at it last, it was like, so.
Like top 5 places to date. That's the top.
Oh, those are the top 2 date. I thought you meant the worst places. No, okay, now we're at the bottom then.
Yeah, the worst was like West Virginia, a couple of southern states. I think
Montana,
the Dakotas. Just I don't remember seeing Colorado. North Carolina was number 15 on the list, which I think we should be lower. Bad. Yeah, I think.
Well, come move back out to Colorado, and then you can compare.
I'm going to tell you what. I don't know. That was a long drive. I drove from Colorado to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and that took like 3 days. Oof, that was a rough move.
Yeah, I moved from Western New York, so yes, I know.
So what took you to Colorado?
The sun.
The sun.
I looked for days of sunshine. And Colorado has the most days of sunshine because I was living in Rochester, New York. I was going to grad school there. So I was like, really, we didn't see that glowing ball in the sky very much.
Well, you see it and you really feel it there because of the elevation. You're really close.
I love it.
Burn you up. I used to turn red out there. Yeah. So Colorado has the coldest winters and the hottest summers, in my opinion.
Rochester, New York, and even upstate New York had pretty cold winters. So,
yeah, I know you don't miss that at all. But yeah, like I was saying, I'd never. How is the dating in Fort Collins, Denver area?
It's actually from what I've interviewed and talked to friends about, and probably worse. I don't know if it's gotten better since I a lot of my friends were single. But I remember them complaining, people are very packy here. Like if you go out, compared to New York. If you go out, people are like at tables leaning in, nobody makes eye contact. I think it's gotten a little bit better actually after COVID, but nobody looks at one another. Nobody kind of makes eye contact with one another. Where in like New York, we were like always talking like out at a restaurant. Oh my gosh, I love your bag. Or, oh, are you so, we'd always crosstalk, and be very open to people. And I found that very different here. And it was harder to even make friends when I first moved here.
Yeah, you're right. Everybody's kind of tribal. They get in their little packs and they just stay there. They tend to get out of they don't want to get out of their comfort zone, which is their tribe. And I was discussing this with another woman, and she was telling me that a lot of men are afraid to make a move, or like, just like you said, look at somebody and maybe smile, some eye contact. I might be a little guilty of that myself sometimes, because I am quick to do that too. Like, I'll see somebody in the gym, or I'll see somebody in a grocery store, and I'm like, wow, she's really pretty. And then I see them, they look up at me, and I right away,
Yeah, I tell guys, don't be creepy. Sorry.
Yeah.
And you got to work on that. And my friend said in the 80s, I could say this and this. I'm like, oh, please don't. Women don't want to be objectified. Why is you're beautiful bad? Well, because yes, and I know men are visual, but notice something else. Notice something else about them, or be more like not so general about it. And why don't you talk to people that you don't think are hot just to practice?
That's an interesting concept.
Oh, and that's what I have my coaching clients go out and do. I'm like, do not worry. It's like, just all of a sudden you have to turn on, your social skills, practice your social skills. The clerk is there. Talk to people in the line at the grocery store, not just the hot, because what you're going to do is your social skills are going to be turned off. You're going to see someone hot and you're going to be like, yeah. Then you're going to freeze, and then you're going to, feel like this is never going to happen. But if you talk to somebody in line, somebody might say, wow, you're a really great guy, and blah, blah, blah. I have a sister. She's single, or I had, so.
Well, so you're telling me this, and I agree with it, but I've also had other women say, well, it is nice to be acknowledged. It is nice to get the compliments, because how else would we know? I mean, it's good to hear positive things. And I guess it all depends on how the guy says it. Of course,
bingo.
You don't want to go up to a girl and say, man, you are fine. I just want to
look at those jeans. You fill out those jeans wonderfully. Men think that's a compliment.
Now, I will tell you what I did a couple of days ago at the gym. And this was not like me being attracted to this girl, wanting to talk to her because she had a wedding ring on. So I knew not going to approach it for that. But she had on a shortcut shirt, and this woman had the most unbelievable six-pack I've ever seen in my life. Like, her skin had to be paper thin to see every fiber of her abdominal muscles, like I was seeing.
She had no body fat.
No body fat at all, but she also weighed like 90 pounds. So, I mean, she was super thin, but I had never seen abs like that before in person. So I went up to her and I complimented her on her abs. I was like, you have the best abs I've ever seen in person. That wasn't on a model on the internet. So she smiled and took the compliment, So,
why do you have to differentiate between this is a different conversation? Why don't you try to connect with everyone? That's what I suggest. Just try to just connect, not for a reason, except for connection. You never know what's going to come out of that. Not like assessing, well, if she's a below a 5, I'm not going to talk to her. Or if it's a man, I'm not going to talk to them. You just never know. And that's how you brush up on your social skills.
I guess it's just subject matter. You got to come up with something to talk about.
Sure.
Sometimes it's just not easy. Like if you're out and about, it's appearance probably 95% of the time. It's appearance, the way a person looks. Are you attracted to that person? And if you are, then of course, that's step one. That will make you want to approach right there. Then, step two, what am I going to go up to and break the ice? She's in the dairy section. Hey, you drink almond milk,
Yes.
or
Yep.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
and if she is a big body language, no, then you just walk, then you no harm, no foul. It doesn't mean you've struck out or whatever, but that's why it's good. Like, let's say that you go up to the elderly lady and you're like, oh, have you tried that? I was thinking about trying that. The cute girl's next to you. She's noticing how you connect with somebody else. That's attractive.
Let's talk about body language for a second.
All right, let's talk about body language.
So help me out as a guy trying to learn about the strange female sex here. What are some body languages that us men need to look out for? Some positive vibes and some negative vibes.
Oh, for that women do?
Yeah,
when they're interested?
Mm-hmm.
Eye contact.
Okay.
So it lingers a little bit longer, or if you catch somebody kind of looking at you out of your peripheral. When women rub their neck, men do this too, rub their neck like that. That's kind of a primitive thing. Blushing.
We're just checking to see if our fat's showing. We're trying to tuck it back.
Or if somebody's eyes dilate, that's a dead giveaway.
Really?
Notice if people are facing you, are their feet facing you?
Mm-hmm.
Are they closed or are they open?
Yeah. Crossed legs, crossed arms. That's usually
okay. Crossed legs is a little different. Crossed leg, if they're crossed and the knees are pointed at you, you're good. If they're pointed away, they're not.
They're not feeling the vibe.
No, but watch, it's not just crossed legs, because if both knees are facing you, and it's a good thing.
Okay, so knees facing.
And if somebody leans in, let's say it's kind of a loud party, and they lean in to listen to you. They they just touch your arm. Usually, they're not gonna do anything like subtle, like touch your hand or your forearm.
Touching. If a woman that you just meet is like laughing and touching you, like putting their hand on your shoulder, or then they just laugh and put their head on your shoulder and real quick and then come back up. Well, that's got to be a good sign, right? It
is. And you know what? But don't overread it. She wants to have sex with me. She may just feel comfortable with you or like you. So it's not all black or white. So you don't just assume and then, go in for the kill. But that's when you get that go ahead sign. Start showing some interest. Talk to her. Find out more.
Do you?
And once you develop that rapport, then you can ask her out.
Okay. Do you play with your hair? Is that a sign? I've read that it was.
Oh yeah, twirling the hair.
Twirling the hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay. Is there any? Well, I guess the bad signs are pretty much just like closed arms and, like you said, point the knees away. Anything else? Just no eye contact.
Like the lack of eye contact. I mean, and I think there's some men who are intuitive, but you can, if you really notice people, you can read their energy. Even like during interviews, I can read people's energy. And granted, I've been doing it for years and years, but just kind of, what vibe do you get? Yeah. Are you, is there an open energy vibe or is there a closed energy vibe? And you know what? Sometimes people have closed energy, not just because of you, because they're uncomfortable. And it may, like on a date and things like that, you're like, oh, she doesn't like me, but maybe she's nervous. And she's like, she has her feet pointing away because she's anxious. So you kind of have to read between the lines a little bit more too. Okay.
Here's another thing I want to ask you about. Let's talk about texting. You said don't text. Okay.
No, you got to text a little.
A little, but you want to get away from it whenever you can. So I think a lot of men struggle with this, and women do too. Like, how can you get out of your head? Like, am I texting too much? Okay, she's taking too long to respond. Am I bothering her? I don't know if I should text anymore. See, these are the things that I think singles struggle with. to make us, and these things just add up. It's like a big singles soup, dating soup. And that's just one of the ingredients that we throw in there to make the worst soup ever. Because what do you think on that?
And everybody's different, but confidence can come like, are you chasing? Think about your energy. Are you running? Are you trying to convince this woman of something? And it feels like, and they can sense that. I mean, even like, thinking about somebody. Let's say you're thinking about somebody in Colorado and they call you. People can not, it's not what you say, but you know, and if you're trying too hard, it becomes energetically obvious.
Do you think
in
that's
a way,
the thing?
And it's subtle. So just be you and don't text unless you're feeling confident.
Yeah. True. Do you think that's the thing? If you're like thinking of something, then all of a sudden they call you? Or
not all the time,
like
but
an energy thing.
But what do you think? Why do you think people drop off all of a sudden? If you say this, you know, if you say things to somebody, why do you think people are dropping off? If they don't know you, you know, they were interested in your profile.
Yeah. There's things that kind of there's things on the internet that kind of hurt guys too, and girls. There's these groups that have we dated the same person, and you know, a lot of women take that stuff as the gospel, which is a shame to me. That these people can go up there, men and women, and post anonymously about people. And you know, I've seen like screenshots of people's profiles and them being talked about, and then like, you know what, this is just crazy. So there's other things that determine whether or not a person is going to stay interested in you. You know, it just is a part of, you know, that soup. Soup.
And have we dated this guy? Actually, I'm on there and I help with advice, and I see it go the wrong way, but then I also see women being like, this guy's married, he has several girlfriends, he's sleeping around, gave me an STD. So it's good and bad, but are you kidding? Abusive, DUIs, domestic violence perpetrators. Or this is my husband. Have you? Yep. So for those people who are you know what I mean? And unfortunately, men often are more so the perpetrators. So, and that is good. But even myself reading through them, I think like, I wonder if women get hardened. Like all men. And then that's easy to say, oh my gosh, look at all these men.
Well, some women, they read that. Maybe they don't believe it's 100% true. How would they know? But maybe they see potential drama here. Okay, I'm not into drama. So this guy's in this group right here. So like, Andrea, this happened to me personally, right? Because
I'm sorry. No, and I can see disgruntled women putting men on there and creating a little more drama. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Well, so I know who did it. I had somebody help me out, so I got to the bottom of it. And I never went on a date with this person. I actually had them in my singles group that I used to run, this big singles group in Raleigh. Yes. And I think I told you about it. And I made her like the head of it, but then I removed her because she was getting too emotional. So I took away her like admin privileges. Next thing I know, I had never been in that group as a topic, the head of a single group for almost 5 years. And I remove her, and then all of a sudden I'm in this group with my Facebook profile picture and this whole write-up anonymously. So I'm getting all my friends that are in that group, female friends, saying, "Hey man, look at this." And I'm like, wow. So it came back to haunt me a couple of days ago because I was talking to this one girl, and everything was beautiful. Aww. We met out. We had a great time. We texted. She was really into me. And then all of a sudden she talked to somebody that had access to this, and she threw that in my face. And I was like, well, I told her the whole story behind it. But
I can see, and I mean, that woman broke all the rules. You have to have less, interacted on a romantic level. Usually if they're on dating profiles, you need to put the dating profile picture up.
Mhm.
And yeah, she totally abused it.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. And you know what? Unfortunately, there's people out there that will do that.
Yeah, it's like if you're not making haters, you're not doing good, I guess. People are going to hate on you regardless. It is what it is. But what doesn't break you makes you stronger, right? That's what they say. I keep going and doing my podcast and stuff and meeting people like you. And we keep on thriving. Have you ever been in something like that?
In something in a group like that?
Yeah, like have you ever had like your reputation questioned or
well,
something?
Gosh, I am kind of I don't want to say a public figure, influencer, relationship coach. Yeah, I get slandered all the time on my on my Facebook page too. Yeah. People like a lot of times like I put something out there for discussion and some man will come in and says, "Oh, you're generalizing every man and you women, blah, 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 blah." Yeah, I get that too. And I'm like, that's funny because most of my clients are men. So, but please don't sign up.
Oh, let me tell you this.
Okay.
I learned my lesson about like posting on public stuff on Facebook about how I feel about relationships, because I posted something a while back. It said, well, okay, I guess the best way to move on is to get under somebody else. And let me tell you, I got so much hate saying that, not really hate, but it was the women saying, no, men do that too. Men are the worst. No, women are the worst. And then it was like a tug of war match where like, who's the worst at getting over somebody is getting under somebody else. So.
The person tried to drag me into that discussion and got mad. Then I'm like, well, thanks for your comment and your opinion and blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, that's it. And I'm like, and like he wanted to fight. And I'm like, no, peace, love.
I ain't got time for that mess. I don't fight on the internet. No. But it's kind of weird out there putting up with all these obstacles.
Yep. So, and that is what I do. That is, I find the obstacles that are standing in your way. And a lot of times comes from our past hurt. And it comes like we guard our heart and we're like, okay, I'll go out there with a guarded heart and I'll be skeptical and I'll be whatever. But if somebody breaks it down, I'll be open. But you know what? You have to heal from whatever is holding you back, those obstacles, whether it be childhood, a lot of past relationships, bitterness on online dating. And you have to believe in love anyways. And you have to heal those things in order to be energetically open to find a real match.
How, if you have those issues, how do you overcome them?
Hire me. There we go. A lot of different ways. First, you have to become aware of them. And a lot of times we are really unaware of exactly how we're coming across. Like we talked about body language. We're unaware of the messages that we're giving off. And we think we're being whatever, but if we're acting it and still guarding our heart, again, remember like energy? Yeah. Heart energy is so attractive. But if we're guarding and we're trying to get them to see something else, it doesn't work. And you can only hold it up so long. And it's first being honest that, well, maybe I have some obstacles I need to look at and work on. And it's healing them. And then that way, and really learning to love yourself instead of searching for love, being love. And I teach people how to do that in my coaching program, embracing that energy. And really looking at things like the client I was talking about who he came in. He's like, I want a second date. I'm like, let's aim a little higher, but that's all he wanted was a second date. And looking at the body language, because he was guarding his heart or had beliefs about himself or about the opposite sex, fear. And that is like, fear and resentment is the number one obstacle to the love energy itself.
I get that because I think the more you get hurt in relationships, you do. You like your heart gets petrified. It gets so rock hard. You just don't want to let anybody else back in. So like, because that feeling, it hurts so bad when you get treated like that. You don't want to go through that again. You know, it's terrible. It's like losing, if you're with somebody for a long time and it's not your fault because of the breakup, like they left you for some other guy or something like that, then yeah, that hurts. It stings. You don't want to open up again to risk having that again happen.
Couple
to you.
things there. In a
mhm.
relationship, it's never all somebody's fault. It always takes two to tango.
Yeah,
and even if you have a 2% stock in the relationship demise, you need to take responsibility for it. You need to take responsibility so you don't do the same thing again. And then if we hang on to they're to blame, you're never going to let down that guard around your heart, because there's resentment, and you got to come to some kind of forgiveness.
Yeah. So I guess it was like I was reading on your Facebook page, like time heals, right? So do you
real?
Yeah, you're real. Yeah, I watched it. So time does heal, but not all the way. The wound still is opened up, you know, I think for a lot of people. So how much time does it take?
Well, and that's what I say in the reel. Does time heal all wounds? Yeah. Well, yes, it does take time, but it also takes the work. Mm-hmm. And then looking at your part and healing those parts of yourself that got damaged and taking it as lessons. I say in it, lessons learned.
Because that's what I see in a single group. It's a lot of older people, you know, I say older, I mean like my age, you know, that are all broken. They're broken in some way. They've been hurt. They've hurt somebody, or, you know, it just, you're dealing with a lot of broken people.
Did you ever hear the saying, hurt people hurt people?
I've heard that before. Yeah.
That's why I say, do not, like right after a breakup, right after your divorce, don't go out to like get your dopamine kick out there, and don't go out there like, I'm just getting my feet wet. No, you're going out and hurting people because you don't know what you want. You go kind of willy-nilly, you know, and I've trusted that in the past. Like I am an empath, so I see people fixed and healed. After my divorce years ago, I went out there and there was, I taught yoga, and there was another yoga teacher out there, kind of newly divorced 1 year. He's like, oh my gosh, I was over the relationship when I was in it, blah, 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 blah. But then as soon as feelings started developing, he started getting all weird and squirrely, and then breaking it off with me a year later, calling up saying, I'm sorry. I'm like, yeah, but you could really hurt people that might have been a good fit for you. You're just not in a place to receive it.
I get that. Yeah. Yeah. How long? Well, I don't know. I know people that still a couple of years later, they can't get over their relationships. They haven't
addressed their wounds.
Yeah.
And like you said, the heart gets petrified. And if you don't unpetrify it, you don't focus on it, you don't work with it, then you're right. People, and that's a defense mechanism, is keeping them. Well, I've been hurt, you know, but if you don't let anybody in, you're not going to have a relationship.
So time just takes time. I heard this formula. So however long you were in the relationship, it usually takes half of that to get over it.
Yep. And it also takes self-awareness. Yeah. And like, why pain is the best way to grow and learn and learn about ourselves and learn how to not recreate that same situation.
Which is tough. You know, it's, I don't know. It's like, I see, I got some female friends that they deserve better, but they keep running back to the same type guys with no jobs. They haven't addressed their wounds. And oftentimes, hey ladies, I'm not dissing on you, we've all done it, is when you don't feel lovable, you're going to choose somebody who either doesn't treat you that well,
because you can't take the love. Because, Michael, right after your divorce, if some woman came up to you, she's an 11, and comes up and says, Michael, I just want to love you and give you all the love and everything you need. Most people can't handle it. Oh, they're boring. They're too much. Emotionally unavailable people to people with their heart closed is like boring.
Yeah. But if an 11 came up to me like right after my divorce, I would probably have to think about it. I think I'm healed. Let's go.
See, that's exactly that's what happens. And guess what? You would blow it down the road. You would blow it up because you'd get jealous. Yep. Kaboom. Yep.
Kaboom.
Oh, yeah. You would take. Yeah. That's what happens when people go online and are separated or newly divorced and stuff like that. And they, we all want connection. That's a natural part of who we are, but but that's selfish. That's like, I want to feel better. I want to feel loved. But when we're in that place, we don't have that love to give.
What do you feel about red flags? That term. Do you like it? I think it's overused. I think red flags is an overused term. I think narcissism is overused.
Oh, yes.
I think that when if there's a breakup, automatically narcissist gets thrown at whoever the other person is.
It's overused. And I don't think anybody can call anybody that unless you're a psychotherapist, psychiatrist, MD, and you've been assessed by that person. And I am even careful in my psychotherapy program to diagnose anybody with that. It's hard. It's a difficult diagnosis. And yes, it's overused. Yet we all have narcissistic traits.
Yeah, everybody
on
this planet
have them, but it is a certain cluster of traits to be diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, or narcissistic personality disorder. So yes, it is a term that, we don't like what somebody does. They're narcissistic.
Automatically narcissistic, or you're gaslighting. That's another one. Now, red flags. Who makes the dictionary up for red flag terms? Because everything's got a red flag label on it.
Social media. It's social media definitions. Yes.
He doesn't have a dog. That's a red flag. He's got fish. That's a red flag. What else is some crazy ones I've heard? Like certain colors you like is a red flag. Probably red. It's these are actually called beige flags. They're what?
It's beige flags.
Okay.
They're just preferences.
Did you just make that up? Or is that a real thing?
I go
beige
listen to my
flags.
podcast. I have 2013 dating terms on there and it's in there.
Beige flags. I'm going to have to look some of those up because I think a lot of people are making the beige flags red flags. And
okay, how I use the terminology for this. What are your preferences and what are your non-negotiables? Just being clear about that. And we can't just like analyze everything, but then give people a chance. And if they have beige flags, those give people, I prefer a dog because I want a partner I can walk my dog with, than having a cat, but that's not a deal breaker.
Yeah, I don't think it's a red flag. It's definitely not a red flag. But I guess some people say if the guy doesn't have a dog, watch out, he's crazy or something like that, or he has
that's very generalizations. Or even if you say, oh my God, that guy's been married 3 times, or that guy's never been married, why don't you just find out a little bit more about why that is the case instead of making overgeneralizations?
Yeah, I think if you're probably in your late 30s, never been married, never had kids, that's a rare thing to find. So there might be...
no. I mean, I'm in my 50s. There are men.
You are not.
Yep, 55.
Really? Well, I was thinking I was older than you. I just turned 48 yesterday.
See, there we go.
Hey, look at that. Hey.
So, but there are men my age who have small children and many that have never been married on dating sites that women are meeting.
Well, I guess then some women will perceive that as red flags, even though they don't know the person.
Well, and there we go back to having too many choices.
Yeah.
Oh, never been married, because you have to decide somewhere. You can't swipe on everyone, or you can. But if you're looking for a particular thing, you can say, well, this is women I know. There's this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. How am I going to narrow it down?
So let me ask you this. Do you think age comes into play? Do you think there's like a gap that you just can't, like 20 years? Like if I date somebody 20 years younger or 10 years older, do you think age, like there's a certain gap you shouldn't cross as far as age limits?
Darling, it's just maturity. Yeah. Many of you listeners may have watched season 5 of Love is Blind. I'm like, I like it coming from a psychological perspective, but in it, this season seemed to have a lot of immature men. They were all about the same age, but the most mature one who ended up getting married and lasting was the youngest. I think he was 24.
Really?
So, and she was 31.
I started watching that and I just couldn't get into it.
Oh, I got irritated by some of the immaturity of men, like saying, oh, yes, I want you to be honest. And when they're honest, they got all butthurt and freaked out. So I was just like, interesting. So I believe it's knowing yourself, loving yourself, being able to have a conscious relationship. I don't think it's age at all. But the more things that you have in common, you're not going to have everything. The more things you have in common, the easier it is. There are more challenges when there's cultural differences, age differences, any differences that you add. Then there also has to be a little bit of difference to hold that attraction.
Do you have like an age limitation?
No, never. It's about the person. And I consider myself a demisexual. So I'm only attracted to people when I really know them. I know their heart and I feel a connection with them.
That is what we all want, but it's hard to get to know a person like that.
Well, I call these days drive-by dating.
Drive-by dating.
That's what I call it.
Oh man. That's driving by, throwing your hearts at, throwing your lures at people.
I'm using that, Michael. I'm using that. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've never really dated older, like my ex-wife, 4 years older than me, and we lasted 14 years. But I don't think I've ever dated older than me. Maybe I should. More mature women, more women that have their shit together, for lack of a better term, And I've dated young women, and then the maturity comes into play a lot with that. But yeah.
I hear that. I hear that from men. And from women, I hear sometimes a little younger, like men in their 50s and their 40s are a little more stuck in,
in their ways,
their whatever, their heart, they're more emotionally unavailable, where somebody younger who hasn't been through as much is a little more open. So and we can't make generalizations. And, I implore you, Michael, to go out of your range a little bit. If things aren't working, if things aren't going right, take a left.
Things aren't going right, take a left. I like that. You've said that a couple of times. Not on this podcast, but I bet you in general you've said
I'm like, you're getting all my good stuff in my from my coaching sessions. You know that, right?
You've probably patented that phrase, or not patent, but trademarked it.
Yes, exactly.
Now you kind of intrigued me when you brought up Love is Blind. Do you find watching these reality TV shows based on love and like F-Boy Island, The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, now there's The Golden Bachelor. Do you find watching these shows you learn more about people and how they act.
Yeah, well, especially in Love and Blind, because they don't see each other.
Yeah.
So that the whole look is out. That's what I'm curious about. And what I was really curious about is like how people faked it more, and they kind of chameleoned into what the other person want. And then when they were in front of them, they were closed off, weren't ready. It was interesting.
Well, because boom, now you're not
real.
behind a wall anymore. You can see the
real.
person. I saw one of the most real things. It was, I don't know her name, but she's a social media, I would call her an influencer. She was on this podcast. She's a transsexual, I think, really large woman, kind of smushed up face, but she had a guy across from her with a blindfold on, and she was like asking him questions, and he was like, well, I have a blindfold on. Really, it's hard for me to answer any questions about visual without being able to see you. She goes, well, with that being said, take off the blindfold. He takes off his blindfold, and my God, he runs away. It's like one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Might not be funny.
That's kind of sad.
I think, though, that's how she gets her fame, because she knows what she looks like. She knows who she is. And it's all about, the clicks. And
it's the same way in the opposite way. There's like women, because we have so many choices, it's the physically attractive men, but especially the physically attractive women. And men get angry when women alter their pictures a little bit or put old pictures on there or misrepresent themselves. I'm like, but tell me this, would they ever get a date then? Isn't it worth at least going out on a date and giving it a try to see if somebody's going to like their personality than not dating at all?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Devil's advocate.
I agree with you a little bit. Now, this is coming from a guy, because how would you like it if...
I wouldn't.
No, it sucks. Like if I post a picture of me 10 years ago, a little bit thinner, hair is a little bit darker, and then I show up and I'm all gray. I'm silver everywhere. I'm not saying I'm fat, but let's just say I weigh 100 more pounds. What are you going to be like? You're going to be like, okay.
Well, it happens a little different. Men lie about their age and men lie about their heights.
Height is a big one. They're always an inch taller than what they are.
So I know which is worse? Men are like, well, that wouldn't bother me. Of course it would. But that's it, and it's different attractiveness and different criteria. But I'm just lying in general is a big, oh no, or hell no for me, and it's a lot more tolerated these days, unfortunately.
Yeah, because of filters. And I get it. If some women don't need filters, some women do need filters. And when you show up, I want you to look how we met online.
I do. And you know what? All women do too.
See, we're tug of war in here. I see what we're doing.
No. But let's listeners, Michael, let's all just be honest.
Yeah.
Let's put our authentic self out there and attract people to us. Yeah. Rather than chasing or manipulating or trying to get something. That is egotistical and self-centered. And you're starting off a relationship. I had a friend, I helped him write his profile. He was a photographer, so pictures were good and stuff like that. Helped him write his profile. And then I went and looked at it. I'm like, dude, you're 45, not 35. And he's like, well, everybody lies. And sure enough, he goes out there, meets somebody, and she dumps him because he lied.
10 years is a big freaking gap.
But 2 years is okay?
I wouldn't say
couple inches are okay. Couple pounds are okay.
Well, pounds fluctuate. One morning I could lose 5 pounds. Yeah, I'm just devil's advocate here. But I get it. 10 years, that's a big lie. I don't lie on any of my profiles. I have several pictures of me, full body, different stages of my life, different types of hair, big beard. So I'm out there 100%. So
good.
but
And
I
the
do, and a lot of people do.
same in your content. Let people see it.
Mhm.
And a lot of people are afraid to put themselves out there because so they don't put things on there. But what that comes across as is you don't want to share, or you're not confident. You don't know what to say about yourself.
Well, let me ask you, do you have an online dating profile?
I do.
Do you? Which one do you use?
Bumble and Hinge.
Do you find Hinge to be better?
Just different, because Bumble is one that you can, your women are more in control of, and I say you can really be selective. So,
Okay.
but Hinge is just, a little different audience. I think a lot of them are very similar. Obviously, like if you're looking for a relationship or things more serious, you're going to go on Hinge or Bumble. If you're looking for more of a hookup, Tinder. I'm like, there's plenty of fish still out there. I mean, there's other ones, and depending what age group you're in too.
Yeah.
Some are for the younger generations. I think Tinder, my daughter's in college. Her friends use Tinder to date the guys in the same college they're in, albeit the colleges are pretty big.
So they put theirs to like 1 mile, and that's pretty awesome. Yeah, you might run
They
into
don't
your
really
Tinder match on
have, well,
campus.
exactly. But
Yeah.
I remember college being pretty easy to meet people who have similarities, who didn't have kids, who weren't married. Just saying.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Andrea, this has been fun. Can you believe? I can't believe we've been sitting here talking an hour already.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun, and it's all the stuff that I love talking about. You can't tell.
Well, no, I enjoy talking with you. It's kind of good to have someone with your view. It seems like some of the other women that I've been interviewing, it's like all women are dating coaches. Where's the men dating coaches? Can we get some men dating coaches?
There's some out there. I've interviewed them on my podcast.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check your podcast out.
Yeah, Love Anarchy podcast. And you can find me at AndreaAtherton.com on my website. And my podcast is on there. All information about my my program, and then also you can find me Andrea Atherton 17 on Facebook. You can find Love Anarchy podcast community on Facebook, and you can find me Drea Atherton on Instagram.
You got all the things.
I got all the things.
Andrea, thanks again, and I hope you have a great rest of the day out there in Fort Collins.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. All right, everybody.
All right.
We'll see you later. Bye. All right, let me